Is there a difference between skipping breakfast and intermittent fasting? This can seem a little confusing because there's a lot of conflicting information out there about intermittent fasting and just skipping breakfast in general. So I'm going to be going over all of this in today's video. Hey guys, if you're new to my channel, my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition and human performance. On my channel, I'm typically also stuttering. On my channel, I'm typically talking about advanced type of nutrition techniques that you can use in order to feel like your most amazing self. And part of that can also be intermittent fasting. But this leads to a lot of questions. As you guys know, if you are not new to my channel, I have so many videos on intermittent fasting. So you can see that there's a lot more to this topic than just like not eating for a little while. But what is the difference? Like, is there a difference between intermittent fasting and just skipping breakfast? Well, let's take a look at both individually. So with skipping breakfast just on its own, you are physically actually removing a meal. So you're actually eating less, and quite frankly, probably a lot less, because you are skipping a full entire meal. This will lead to a pretty consistent drastic reduction in obviously your energy intake, but also things like your protein and fiber and fat, things that are really essential to turning off your hunger hormones and increasing fat burning mechanisms. Isn't that just what intermittent fasting is? Isn't that just skipping breakfast? Contrary to what you might have heard in a lot of articles or seen in a lot of articles, I guess it would be. With intermittent fasting, you're not necessarily eating less, you're eating less often. And therein lies the key distinction between just skipping breakfast and intermittent fasting. So with intermittent fasting, like I mentioned, you aren't eating less necessarily, you're just eating during a smaller period of time. So in most cases, you still are eating 3 meals a day. However, a lot of my clients and AM peeps also find it easier to just eat 2 meals a day, which I can see where the confusion would be on the skipping breakfast issue, but you're still eating enough food in order to feel satisfied. You're not eating less food. So even if you are doing 2 meals a day, so in theory, where it would look like you are skipping a meal, you're actually eating more at these 2 meals that you are eating. So by doing this, by just eating the same amount of food during a smaller amount of time, it makes it so that your gut is actually allowed to rest. It stimulates your MMC pathway, which as we know is really helpful for reducing SIBO and bloating. It's often why most people who use intermittent fasting do experience decreased bloating is due to the increase in this MMC pathway, or migrating motor complex if you want to get all sciencey. Now, intermittent fasting in various studies has also been found to help improve insulin sensitivity, and that's a key factor for many health markers, including issues like PCOS and testosterone for men and women for that matter. Especially if you guys remember Ziamara, who I've talked about in the past, and her ability to increase her testosterone levels to normal levels, and even with weight loss. So improving insulin sensitivity can also help you tap into fat burning mechanisms. So if you're not constantly having increased insulin, then it can lead to you being able to tap into fat burning. And one major problem I've seen with something like just skipping breakfast or just calorie reduction in general is that this can lead to some hormone imbalance issues, particularly in women. You know, there's even studies that have found that there's issues with infertility and calorie restriction. And remember, most diets do have calorie restriction, but that's one of the key differences with intermittent fasting, especially when done properly, is that it's not necessarily calorie restriction. So it was even found with the Biggest Loser contestants that about 8 years after the show ended, that they had permanently damaged their BMR. So their metabolism had really decreased as a result of really decreasing their calorie intake. Now this is on the more extreme end, but it's still something to keep in mind to show what can happen if you do calorie restriction for such a long amount of time. Now with intermittent fasting, it is really important that you do it the right way. So just as you can see with this skipping breakfast versus intermittent fasting, there's a lot of factors to consider with intermittent fasting. I have a ton of videos on intermittent fasting in general. I also have the summer intermittent fasting challenge going on right now that all the AM peeps are participating in. It's really cool. We have people literally all across the world, like in China and Australia and Belgium and Poland and the USA and Canada. But it's pretty cool because all these people are coming together and working toward their wellness goals and really supporting one another. And it's pretty cool to see that happen, especially in the private AN Facebook group. So if you do want to join in and cut out the confusion on intermittent fasting and have amazing meals and meal by meal planning and all the information you need on how to use intermittent fasting properly, you can check out the link on how to join the challenge down in the description below. So it is currently going on right now, but you can definitely join in whenever you want. AM peeps are a really welcoming group. We're all here to support you. So feel free to check out the link below so that you can join in. And remember, if you're new to my channel, subscribe right here and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified when I come out with new videos on how you can feel amazing again. All right guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.